This is video A11. We're going to continue with log properties, and now we're going to learn how to use them. Okay, our first type of problem will be to express the logs as a single log and simplify if possible. Okay, so 1a. We have log base 6 of 4 plus log base 6 of 9. So the instructions tell us to do something very specific. It doesn't say try to evaluate these right away. It says we have to first express them as a single log, and it's actually a really common mistake on tests to, in your answer, write log twice, which wouldn't be a single log. So try to avoid that common mistake. So what we have is we have two logs that are added. We can use a property backwards and write this as a single log, log base 6, and then since these different logs were added, we can multiply them inside the single log. And now we go ahead and try to simplify this if we can. So there's part of the answer. Now I have log base 6 of 36, and now my hope is that you're going to use your understanding of logarithms. This says 6 to what power is 36, and 6 squared is 36, so the answer is 2. Let's try it again. Log base 1/3 of 27 minus log base 1/3 of 9. Okay, so we'll follow the instructions. First, write these as a single logarithm, and when they're subtracted, we can write it as a single log with division. The one that's positive will go on top. The one that's subtracted will go on the bottom. And of course, now we're going to try to simplify this. So I have log base 1/3 of 3. And once again, I'm hoping you use your understanding of logarithms. 1/3 to what power would be 3? And so I'm hoping you would know that's -1, but let's say you don't. What I can try to do is match these and see if I end up getting the same thing. And what I mean by that is this. So honestly, what I would hope that you do is right there, just write down the answer, -1. But this is a nice little trick to know. I can make this 1/3 to the -1st. I can bring this exponent out in front, just -1. And then all of a sudden I have another log property, one of the most basic ones. Log base b of b is 1, and so I did end up with -1. Okay, the next kind of problem is to do the opposite. We're going to expand and simplify. Okay, expand means write it out as fully as possible. And I'll show you what I mean by that. 1a. Log base 2 of 32 to the 6th. All right, so what I want to do is use the log properties kind of frontwards now. So here I see that I have this exponent that I can bring out in front as the coefficient. So there's one thing. So we're applying the properties again. And then I'm going to try to simplify this if I can. Okay, so 2 to what power would be 32? And I think we've been building that since all year. 2 to the 5th is 32. And so this part is simply equal to 5. And then my simplified answer would be 6 times 5, or 30. All right, let's try one more. Log base 8 of 4 to the 20th. Okay, now this is going to be a tricky one. Pay attention to what we do here. Okay, because this is going to actually be a nice answer. So I'm going to bring the exponent out in front as the coefficient. And it looks like we can't go any further because 8 to what power equals 4? Well, that's not nice. But watch what we can do. Okay, what I'm going to try to do is something we did up here a little bit. I'm going to try to match the bases of 8 and 4. And that will end up looking like this. Okay, I know that 8 is 2 cubed. That's a 3 there. And 4 is 2 squared. Okay, so let's leave that 20 alone. Let's just look at this right here. Let's try to figure out what that equals. So I'm going to take it off to the side over here. So let's say I have log base 2 cubed of 2 squared equals x. I want to solve for x. Since it's a logarithm, I can circle its base, go across, and come back, and write it in exponential form. So I would get, here's my base, I get 2 cubed to the x power equals 2 squared. Okay, and then we know our exponent properties. If I raise an exponent to an exponent, I multiply them. And then think about what you're looking at right here. I have 2 to this power equals 2 to that power, so this has to equal that. In other words, 3x equals 2, so x is 2/3. And this was my x right here. And so all of a sudden I have 20 times 2/3, which is 40/3. All right, so your homework tonight will be to do very similar things. And I want you to notice that 2C is just like what we just did. 2B is a little tricky. Go ahead and pause the video and I'll show you the worked out solutions now.